Should women be drafted alongside men, and why or why not? Female war veteran commenting. First preference, draft no one. Second preference, draft according to individual abilities, not X or Y chromosomes. That first preference weighs heavily. It's bad enough being on deployment with a person who regrets their decision to enlist. One individual who half-asses a job can put everybody in danger. From what veterans who served during Vietnam say, the draft was that to the nth degree. Second, the PT requirements aren't all that difficult. Boot camp is designed to be irritating and then to graduate people. It seems more intimidating than it really is because of the rules involved. Marching in formation to get to the gym, not being allowed to talk while you run, the threat of extra push-ups if you get out of line. Really the run is only a mile and a half, and any healthy person can make time. The problem is with recruits who never did basic cardio or strength training before in their lives, and a lot more of the female recruits arrive like that because they hadn't gotten into sports. There's only so much progress a body can make in 8 weeks. I exceeded the male PT requirements and I look nothing like an Amazon. Pretty much anybody can, if they spend a few months in a weight room and take up jogging. It's bad enough being on deployment with a person who regrets their decision to enlist. One individual who half-asses a job can put everybody in danger. This X 10,000. I don't care who you wanna/don't wanna fuck, what sex you are, or what sex you wanna be. Can you perform the job? Can you keep up? Are you gonna quit? Those are the questions that matter. Although I served with Marine infantry before integration, I witnessed plenty of male Marines who would quit or shoulder never even been there. And when they quit, now someone else has to take their watch, carry their gear, or carry/push their dead weight, killing yourself in the process. We're on our own. There's no one else coming. We're all we got. All of this can happen before you even engage an enemy. Do I think many women can function with what an infantryman can be expected to tackle? To be bluntly honest, fuck no. The same applies to some men, though. But I guarantee there are some women out there who could do well and would choose to go. I'll take one of them over the dude I just pushed for the last 5 miles, causing me to be a borderline heat casualty. I believe that either we all join the draft or none of us do. I lean towards the latter because I believe war is mostly unnecessary, and that if the ranks are filled with the unwilling, they aren't going to make a very good fighting force. As a point of principle, if enough people won't volunteer, your war is illegitimate. A few shitheads in government shouldn't get to dictate that thousands or millions of people go off and kill other people or die. If it is a legitimate war, a true existential threat to your homeland, you won't need a draft. People will absolutely rise up to protect themselves and their families and homes. But being ordered to murder foreigners in far-off places? Not so much. Although, if even an existential threat to your country doesn't provoke enough voluntary recruits, then maybe the country has failed/should fail. It would have to be pretty messed up if not enough people wanted to protect it, or everyone thought the enemy to be better than current government. Obviously smaller countries can be overwhelmed even if everyone fights. I mean countries with a large population. Should anybody really ever be drafted? I mean, I personally don't believe that in most cases that there is a moral standing for it. Not only is there not a moral standing for it, there's no logical standing for it either. Why would anyone be motivated to die for their country? Country is a concept, not a real tangible thing to give up your very life for. One might argue that it's an exchange for the protections that country offers me. Well, no, I freaking pay real money for that. Nobody gave me freedom. I was born free, and I owe no debt to anyone. Not that it matters, because I'm a middle-aged woman. But if my sons become of age during a time of extreme conflict, I will lie, cheat, or do whatever I have to in order to prevent losing them to a cause that means absolutely nothing, and a country that cares nothing for them. No, because no one should be drafted. Since draft memes are big this week, I'm going to also reassure any teenagers out there who might not 100% get the joke that no one is getting drafted anyway. The realities of war have changed on many levels. Enough people sign up as it is, and we don't conduct wars by marching in giant phalanxes of infantry anymore. Most of the people I see who are worried would not qualify for the draft anyway. It isn't as bad as it has been, but men and only men have been drafted for many years now, and I think that it should change. We live by the unwritten rule that men and women should live as equals and be given the same treatment. So for only men to be drafted is kinda weird in my eyes. I know that men are generally better built for more physical work and so on, but I feel like there must be something that women can do as good or even better than a man in the military. And I'm not saying this because I'm a man and want women to suffer like my fellow men, but at least give them the same opportunity as men. I would like to say that in a perfect world there would be no drafting, but our world is nowhere near perfect, so let us give men and women equal opportunities. Yes and no. I don't think anyone should be drafted. Ideally, anyone eligible for the draft would have just as much of a chance to be drafted as the next eligible person. Of course, that could be abused. Leaders could select people from specific demographics to serve but not others, etc. The draft is a bad idea in a country where the military is run on voluntary service. On the subject of the draft in today's world, you have nothing to worry about at the moment if you fear being drafted. The president doesn't have the power to enact a draft. Congress has to pass a law saying that the draft is in effect, and we have more than enough people serving as is. Given how unpopular the draft was last time it was enacted, it would kill the chances any senator who supports the draft has of being re-elected. Yes, women should be drafted along with men for multiple reasons. Firstly, if all women and men are equal, why are men the only ones required to risk death for America? Secondly, women and men are vastly different in genetic makeup, and thus women should be utilized in war because they can bring new perspectives or strategies to the table. Lastly, the draft has been disabled for some time now, so if there is a crisis that calls for the drat to be recommissioned, we would need all hands on deck immediately. Solution: all countries should only draft people who vote for and support wars, including all politicians. Regular surveys will be conducted to ask individuals if they support war. Drafting and tax payments for the war will only apply to those who answer yes on the survey. Additionally, all war participants will be sent to a remote island to fight among themselves, with no nukes allowed. They will be given free handicap helmets and water bottles, but all other weapons, supplies, and travel expenses must be paid on their own. I think some of the comments are kind of dodging the question by saying nobody should be drafted. For the purpose of the question, let's assume that the draft is going to happen, whether we like it or not. Here is my position on it. I think that women should be drafted alongside men, for several reasons. The first and most obvious one being equal rights. Anyone who supports true gender equality will fight to eradicate any social injustice against any gender, whether the outcome benefits you or not. Likewise, I believe that being forced to sign up for the selective service in the event of a draft should be a universal practice, not only one for men. Secondly, I believe that women would be of great use in the armed forces. The minds of men and women function differently and have different benefits and disadvantages. More women in combat could provide an advantage that we haven't seen before. And last but not least, I believe that the male protector/female nurturer structure is outdated. It functioned well for us back in primitive times, but now we have advanced enough to cancel out any survival advantage provided by that structure. As a side note, it would be amusing to see some of the women I know try to shoot a gun with their 3-inch nail extensions. It's important to understand that war has changed significantly over the course of the 20th century. In Greco-Roman times, war was one army of armored men duking it out with other armored men on a field, made muddy with spilt blood. The phalanx and later manipul system relied on significant upper body strength to pull off. Basically, you had to hold a heavy iron shield up for the duration of battle. And while many women were no doubt capable of that strength, the truth of dimorphic gender means that strength came more easily to men than women. Better to train the women and leave them to defend the homestead, which happened quite frequently across the globe. But even in Greco-Roman times, you had the Parthians, archers who fought from horseback. Once you put a soldier on a horse and give them a bow, any biologic-based gender differences vanish. We don't know much about Parthia, but we know that Rome was terrified of them, and that they let women fight so frequently as to inspire tales of the Amazons. Modern warfare relies very little on the upper body strength that was make or break for the legions. Even in the cases where it does, the given woman who wants to become a SEAL or Special Forces has the support necessary to achieve that, assuming baseline health. Women are quite capable of flying planes, captaining battleships, piloting submarines, driving tanks, operating drones, and performing many of the other tasks which involve modern warfare. Hell, there's strong indication that they are superior snipers to men. War in the 21st century relies on computers, intelligence analysis, and strategic deployment of resources, something which all genders have the potential to excel at. So any hand-wringing over women's physical fitness for war is based on an outdated concept of what war actually is, and what a soldier needs to be good at war. That being said, war is a racket and the draft is immoral. No one should be drafted. If the nation can't get it together to field a sufficient army, even for defense, the war should not be fought.